Brandon Staley is, and he came on the show, gave us a great conversation.
That's right.
Does he actually, is he the one that all the stats people like pray to at night?
Yes.
I believe so. He's their Lord.
Dear Brandon Staley, we come to you today to thank you for stating what we've been stating for a long time.
Thank you.
6 points is more than 3 points. And although 0 points is definitely an outcome that could happen that is less than both of those numbers, we're going for 6 every fucking time, Brandon Staley. Because the stats tell us, even though you went 0-4 last night, first time ever in NFL history that a team walked away with no points with first and goal 2 times in the first half or something like that.
Not one.
And although you end up losing by 6, which hindsight would have been just 2 very, 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 very short chip shot field goals.
That's right. Side's 50-50.
And your stats will just get tossed into I don't know, 10,000 stats. Nobody will even remember that you fucking lost this game to the Chiefs.
Nope.
And the stats won't even recall that you did this and made this decision because the overwhelming number is on the positive side. But what a lot of people outside of this stat god Brandon Staley community that I'm talking to right now that I almost forgot about, what a lot of people outside of this stat thing say, if it has happened before, it could happen again.
That's right.
So unless the stat is 100-0, are we willing to bet entire legacies, destinies, careers, and games on those? And Brandon Staley, every single time you say, fucking right.
Let Justin throw.
There's other analytics we'd like to dive into, and we appreciate you for bringing this into our lives because you legitimize us more than any other NFL coach in the fucking history of coaches.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon Staley's the new age. Brandon Staley will carry our stats and analytics forward. And we do know that, Brandon Staley, you got to start fucking winning then if you do that. Because it'll be quite a dunk on our entire stats community if you keep fucking losing and getting 0 points whenever you could get 6, but there's 3 very much available, and then you would not even have to go to overtime or lose the game or anything like that. But you need to keep holding it down for stats. We appreciate you. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Staley.
What's his deal?
He's a clown.
No, he's not. He's very nice on here.
He's very nice on here.
He's very nice on the show.
Sure.
Well, I think it's like what you said. Like at a certain point, like if it's you can't like handcuff yourself to the analytics, and I feel like that's what they do. Like they get so like you said, it's like, hey, if it's happened once, it could happen again. Like you get so like bogged down and like, well, shit, if we don't go for this 56% of the time, teams do lose this game. And it's like, well, if you get fucking beat anyway, it doesn't matter.
Nobody will remember those lost. The stats community will not remember in their stats. It'll be a movement of 0.0001% because of how many plays that they have been able to do that whole thing. So it won't even move. But those were massive, vital decisions that were being made. The Chargers allowed the Chiefs to stay in that game.
Yes.
The Chargers allowed the Chiefs to stay in that. And I understand if you pick up 14 more points, hey, that's better than 0.
Yeah, it's true.
Hey, that's better than what we have right now.
That's right.
But another 6 points changes that game immensely as well. Now, will Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce be able to turn on the, hey, we're going to go ahead and open a fire hose here whenever we want like they did at the end of the game? Maybe. But that game, I did not fully understand what Staley was doing. And I'm like, what, do you hate kicking? I don't. Is this that high school coach where in Arkansas or something?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where he doesn't punt.
Nope.
Goes for 2 and kicks onside kicks every time. He's like, yeah, we win. It's like, okay, that's against people that don't understand the cover 2 defense.
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned that. He got a college job. They won 1 game, and then he lost the rest of them, and now he's going back to high school.
Not really good. Yeah. I don't know. I understand trying to transform the game and make it better, and stats can definitely do that. But if you're watching that game last night, it's hard not to be like, just kick the field goal, dude. What do we even do? I like the energy. Hey, I got faith in my team. I like my quarterback. I like where we're at. Maybe, and people are saying that maybe he doesn't trust his defense not to be able to stop Patrick Mahomes, and you got to go for 7 when you're playing against Pat. You got to be able to go for 7. Or maybe he was thinking, if we don't score, they got 95 yards, they got to be able to go. They did, but like it is It's an interesting thing. The new stats and analytics, it came into the spotlight last night, obviously. You're in LA, so it's probably a conversation over there this morning. The Chargers and Brandon Staley seem to hate kicking field goals, because 6 points is more than 3 points. Have you asked coaches about this new data and analytics era in which it seems like all old school football rules for some people are just completely done?
We have, and I heard the early part of the show, and you're right. And Staley's taking a little heat here because he's always going for it on fourth down, always. And in fact, at one point, he had I think he had a 7-point lead a few weeks ago in the game, and he went for 2 to go. So it's either 9 or so. What are you doing that for? I mean, really? If you don't make it, so there are a million ways to look at it, but I'm a believer in a game. Every game has a different rhythm and feel. Yeah. And you've got to feel where that game is at any particular time. And when they go for it just before halftime last night, that's a deflating thing not to make it. Now, Kansas City is walking off the field feeling pretty good, another goal line stand. And the Chargers are going, well, we could have led by, more than we do. I mean, you tell me, you were in the game. You played the game. I mean, there's got to be a certain emotional deflation if something like that happens to your team.
Well, I think the issue is, and by the way, Al, incredible breakdown right there. It's whenever people look at football players, and it's because of the guy you worked with for 7 years here straight, and the documentary's coming out. I can't wait to watch it. But on Madden, every player is a number. Okay, so every player is a number. It's this dude's a 94, this dude's a 76, this dude's a 71. But what Madden doesn't know is that some days this 71 is actually an 85. In some days, this 94 is actually a 72. And in other areas, they're up and down because they're humans. The Madden thing kind of took the human view of athletes kind of out of that whole thing. And I think stats and analytics do the same thing. Whenever you're talking about field, they take out the humans that are being involved in these analytics. They're treating it as if it's robots or a video game. I think that is the big thing, Al.
No, you're on top of it because, look, there's a place for analytics, but just as an aid. You can't make your decisions totally predicated on that. And in fact, I think analytics has helped to not ruin baseball, but you didn't see pitchers coming in every 2 innings. You didn't see the shifts on every batter. I mean, baseball needs to be made better right now. Part of the problem, I think, is all of the analytics around the sport of baseball. It's made it a less interesting. I don't want to see a pitcher come in every 2 innings. Do you?
No, Al. I just want to see Shohei Ohtani every night. I want to see him doing his thing, and then I want to see them hit bombs over there. But what do we know, Al? We're just two shirtless dudes, or sleeveless dudes talking about the world. Everybody's probably much smarter than I am. I don't know if they're smarter than you ever. The Chiefs and the Chargers last night, AJ. Your thoughts on a game that was like, what? And then all of a sudden ends with electricity. Overtime win for the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, and Travis Kelce, who had 190-some yards, 2 tuds, including a game winner in which he shook and ran away from 4 people 25 yards out. They flipped the switch and decided to win that game, but there was a lot of decisions made by Chargers head coach Brandon Staley that people are chatting about today. AJ, your thoughts after watching that game?
Well, I feel like that's what's overshadowed all of this game is the decisions by Brandon Staley to go for it on fourth down and the arguments online about analytics and what are you supposed to do here and there. Just, I guess, I don't know. Has he ever not gotten a fourth down like this in so many tries?
I have no idea. So the ESPN Stats and Info is saying the Chargers are the first team since at least 2000 to fail on 4th and goal twice before halftime.
Still could have won the game.
They also failed.
That doesn't sound like that. Well, I guess because 4th and goal, you're kicking field goals. So not as many people are going for it either first time or second time. But that doesn't sound as bad. I thought it was 1st and goal that they were the first to fail twice before halftime on that thing, which I would assume guys have missed field goals in the past. That whole decision-making of, 6 points is more than 3 points. And over the span of 4 million snaps and plays in this situation, it ends up being positive to go for it because, there are people that make it on 4th down. What is the deal? Is this what the whole future looks like? No way, right? There's going to be some old school coaches that stick around. How long do you think it is before the stats community either, dials back, or do you think it goes even further in there? And we're just looking at this now because it was a negative as opposed to all the positives that stats have maybe brought to the games.
I think it's definitely possible this could continue to go further, and we'll see more and more coaches kind of sink in and, I guess, dig in and do this more. But then I feel like everything else, eventually it will balance itself out to where you have, okay, yeah, I understand what the book says, what I'm supposed to do, but also I have my instincts and what I feel is going on right now in this moment.
Well, it kind of seems like, too, like, especially with the Chargers, like, they love that they go for like, the analytics people love that they go for fourth down all the time, but, like, they also love shitting on their defense. And, like, how many of these times where they're going for it on fourth down and putting their defense in a precarious spot? Like, how many times has that happened?
Hey, we should be up 2 scores right now, but instead we need you to make a play for us because we just gave the ball over, turned the ball over. What's up, Diggs?
I'm not against going for it on fourth down, but like the drives that they chose to do it on the first drive of the game, which is awesome if you get points on the first drive of the game, and then the last drive before half, like if you get points going into half, those are 2 drives where
Big
our
momentum
yeah.
drives. Big momentum drives. You're 100% right, Tony.
Those middle eight, that Lombardi always talks about.
Well, it's just, I think the feel of the game, and it helps you, if you're a super stats person, you know, I guess ultimately in the end you're going to end up because the stats that you're taking are all above whatever percentage you deem to be. Like, is it 55, 45? Are they only doing things that are 60 and above percentage-wise? Whatever the case. If you stay in that stats world, you have something to fall back on. You know, so you don't have to be the one that made the bad decision, right? It was the book. The book made the decision. The stats made the decision.
It's like if you lose at blackjack playing the proper way. Well, you know, the book says I got to hit here.
I did what I had to do. You know, I did what I had to do, and for the good of the table and all that stuff. But in this particular case, you know, the numbers tell us that we have to go. It gives you like a tag team partner to almost point blame to. But also that tag team partner is very prevalent whenever the conversation's happening about your decision making. He's a big stats guy, and Tomlin even referenced this about Harbaugh, where he was like, they are so committed to analytics that in that particular department they've become predictable. So I forget how he worded it, but it was something like that. That is always something that's there for if it ends up bad, you can say, you know what the fuck? Have you ever heard of 1 million reps have happened in this, and this is what happens more often than not? You almost give yourself like I think you can sleep better at night almost, some people, whenever they do that.
Well, and this would have been the same conversation after the first time they played, but they got a lot of the fourth downs they went for on fourth. I remember they had a 4th and 2, got a false start, and then converted on 4th and 7. And then 2 weeks later, they played the Ravens, and they got blown out because they weren't getting those same fourth downs that they did.
And Al brought up Staley when they were up 8, instead of kicking the extra point to go up 9, going for 2 to go up 10. And didn't get up, so they were up 8. It was still a 1-score game. It's some of the decisions are just wild.
Hey,